Hello everyone, and welcome to what is quite possibly the new easiest Dark Dungeons chimps ever, with no abilities, no micro, the new hero SILAS, and only one trap ever used. And when I say trap, I mean the Dark Dungeons traps. I'm not going to use them right now because we have to use one of them on round 7, but we'll get there. First, we have the Dart Monkey placements. These guys are actually pretty easy, but can still be a little precise, especially this first one, which goes as low as possible here, but you want to have the tip of the dart that he's holding when he's in the idle animation be in line with that line on the floor. You want it to just be in line with that, and as low as possible there. And that placement is probably the hardest part about this whole run. Next, we've got this dart, who's just as bottom left as possible here. Just shove it in that corner. And then this guy goes as high as possible here, and you want to make sure that his range border goes through the middle of the track like this. With these placements, you should be able to beat round 6 with no issues. And round 7 comes the only one required thing in this entire strat that you have to do mid-round, which is activating the right trap. You're going to have to activate the right trap by clicking the torch when there's only one red balloon left on the right side. So, once you see only one red left at the end of the round and your dart just missed it, you're going to click the torch. Here, it activates the spike trap, and it gets killed. That is the only trap we're going to be using the whole run. So yeah, that's fun. Get quick shots on this dart monkey right over here, on the left one, and then get a second dart for the right side. This guy's going to go as left as possible here, just making sure that the range border touches the inside of the darker track border here. We're also going to set this bottom guy to strong, just because we can. And it helps a little bit later, and we're going to have to do that for the later rounds anyway, so might as well just do it now. For round 9, get yourself a second dart monkey right over here, as low as possible just on this straight line down, and set your bottom middle dart to strong as well. Round 9 is also the round where this guy's position really matters, because we need him to get a bunch of snipes here, like that. He needs to get those very consistently for you to be able to beat the round, but the placement isn't super precise. For round 10, get very quick shots. And we're going to get triple shot next on, I think, round 12. Yep, we afford triple shot on round 12. For round 14, get yourself a sub right over here, just as middle as possible in the water platform. Just place it right in the middle here. And we're going to set it to strong. Also, make sure this dart, this middle bottom dart, is on strong, and also get quick shots on it. We're going to get very quick shots here as well, and just something quick, if you don't actually know, I'm guessing most of you don't, these are absolutely not the standard dart spots for the middle, but they leave us a bit more space, and they work, so we're going to go with them. Took me a bit to find these spots, nothing too crazy though. We're also going to get triple shot on this guy after round 16. And then, for round 18, we're going to get yet another dart monkey right over here, just as top left as possible. And now we're finally going to go for SILAS. We just have to get this setup established before we go for SILAS, because it is by far the most consistent that way. Trying to get him earlier just makes a bunch of things really inconsistent and has some more mid-round stuff, which is a bit annoying. And SILAS' leveling doesn't really matter. As long as we have him, he's fine. Just get him after 21, because that's when we can afford him. We're going to place him right over here, just as right as possible, and we want to have the bottom of the highlight on his foot touching this line right here. We're also going to set our triple shot to first, and SILAS to strong, and then we're also going to get a glue gunner right over here, and set this guy to strong as well. This guy should glue every single white balloon entering, and it should just make it an absolute cakewalk. We're going to get this guy to a 110 for 23, just to make it even more consistent. And something that might happen, SILAS might snipe the right side a little bit, as you can see there. You don't need him to, but it can help a little bit. We're going to get camo on our dart for 24, on our left triple shot, to kill the camo. I do find it quite funny how the triple shot is just soloing the entire side. That's pretty funny. For 26, we're going to get a glue gunner here as well, as bottom right as possible. And this guy is going to just be a 100 set to strong for now. Just get glue soak. Just makes these zebras a little more consistent. Which is crazy. I've never had to do RNG prevention for zebras before, but yeah. Get corrosive on your right glue for 27. And for 28, we're going to get corrosive and bigger globs on our left glue as well. SILAS should deal with the leads for the middle lane, because he's the best hero in the game, obviously. There is a little bit of RNG in the early game with where he places his like ice walls, but that's not very important and shouldn't cause you to like actually lose because of it. And that is because we are getting a spike factory right over here, just right now because we can. Just place it over here. Spot isn't super specific. Technically you could put it here so that it concentrates all the spikes, but we're going to be getting smart spikes on this guy soon anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Just put him here. And our corrosive glue slowing and dealing damage to all of the balloons here is going to be super, super useful. We're going to get a second spike factory, just as top right as possible, for 33. And the triple shot should just solo the camos on its side, because it's reds and like a few yellows. Nothing that a triple shot cannot handle. For 34, there can be a little bit of RNG on this round, so we're going to get a dart right over here, just to prevent it completely. Sometimes this triple shot will leak a single red, and yeah, this dart is going to have to catch it. As long as the glue is on strong, you shouldn't be able to lose. And for 35, we're finally going to make it practically impossible to lose on this side by getting a third spike factory over here. Just as top right as possible here. Make sure you place it as precisely as you can, just because we do not want any of the spikes to go on the bottom lane. We all want them to be on the vertical lane for now. Corrosive glue turns this round into a piece of cake, because corrosive glue is the best upgrade in the game. For 36, we don't really have any group popping for the right side, so we're going to get a spike-a-pult here on the bottom of the top darts, and we're also going to set it to last. It's only going to be on last for this round, and we're going to switch it off of that targeting the instant that 37 starts. It's just better because it'll use more pierce on last this round. Back to first for 37, and then we're going to start going for our round 40 solution, which is going to be a long life spikes. So we're going to get smart spikes here, and we're going to set the targeting, and we're just going to move it a little further back from where the default is, because the default is a little bad, so we're just going to move it a little further back. If you put it too far back, there might be some funky stuff that happens in like much, much later. Like BFBs from the top side might start eating the spike pile if you put it super far back, but this spot should be good. Before 39, make sure to get bigger stacks and long life spikes. Don't get your alchemist quite yet. We don't need it. But you can. You can also just get this alchemist here. As long as the only thing in its range is the spike factory, it doesn't matter. And if you want to get AMD, mid 39, go for it, but you shouldn't have to. You just have to get alch buff after 39 ends. Just get brew, and this should win very consistently every time. Sometimes you'll only have one spike left, but it should be good. Ideally, SILAS will slow the MOAB twice with the ice walls to allow for some more spikes, but should be good regardless. Absolutely tanked like a champ. Next, we're going to get camo on our right spike-a-pult, and then we're going to upgrade our left top dart to a 302 spike-a-pult as well. Juggernauts are insanely good on this map, like, insanely good, because they just bounce everywhere, so we're going to start building into those. Get your first one on the left, and then we'll also get the right one. I was so confused what was taking so long there. SILAS just froze a balloon at the front of the track and couldn't kill it, so that's fun. Get Juggernaut after 44 ends. And this should be able to solo until round 50, but we're actually going to come back on round 49, because there's something very important that we do on 49 that makes round 50, well, work. So, for 49, we're going to get a village right over here, and we're going to upgrade it to a 002 discount. And then we're going to upgrade this guy to a 103, and we're going to set the target right over here. This guy's target is going to be set in a few different places. Well, it's only here and like here, but we're just going to leave it here for now. I'll tell you when we're going to set it to here. It's much later though, don't worry. And then for the middle lane, because we need a bit more help middle lane, the rest is completely fine for now. We're just going to get a village as bottom left as possible. And upgrade it to a 002 Monkey Commerce, and make sure you can fit a tack shooter above it, but don't get it quite yet. Just see that you can fit it in this top left corner. Over here should work as well. Pretty much anywhere up here should work. Top left corner is the best. Don't place it yet, though. Next, we're going to get an Ice Monkey here as well, and we're going to upgrade it to a 210, and we're going to get this guy to an Embrittlement. We're choosing to go for Embrittlement before the Overdrive for the middle lane, because yeah, we're going to go for a standard Embrittlement Overdrive setup here. The reason we chose to go for Embrittlement first is just for, like, slight consistency issues. And the long life spikes with immense build-up should just tank the MOAB, and our long life spikes up here, and the Juggernaut should just solo the MOAB. Like, those ceramics are gone, knocked back insanely far. On 51, we're going to get Deadly Spike here. And this guy is going to serve as some very important cleanup and MOAB layer popping for pretty much the entire game. This guy's going to be some very good cleanup in the late game, but mid game he also pops a lot of MOAB layers, as you'll see. Now this top side and left side can survive for a very long time, so we're just going to completely finish our mid game middle setup by upgrading... Actually, nah, let's get the tack shooter first, and I'll do it after the round ends. We're going to get a tack shooter right over here, just as top left as possible, and upgrade it to a 203 tack sprayer, and we're going to get it to overdrive once we have the money. Deadly Spike is going to tank for quite a while because it's OP. After they buffed it to 3 damage a few updates ago, it's actually really strong, so that's fun. We're going to get overdrive here, and now we're just going to finish our bottom mid-game setup by getting jungle drums and then primary training. Primary training. And then we're also going to get an alk buff just as top left as possible here. Just a 3-2-0. Oh, can't afford it quite yet. But after the round, we get a 3-2-0 alk buff. And we are now going to completely forget about this middle side until round 80. So that's fun. Now we're going to start building our setup for the other sides, because it's a bit weak right now. Especially this right side is being held down by a single Juggernaut. That is not going to beat the ceramic waves on 78. Sorry. But first, we're going to get some left side defense. 301 Alk buff just as top left as possible for our Deadly Spike. And then we're going to get Jungle Drums, because more spikes and also more Juggernaut hits. And then because Juggernaut is so OP on this map, we're actually going to get a third one on the right side. Well, really it's a second one on the right side, but a third one in general. And this guy is also going to be the bottom cross path because that is the far superior one. It knockbacks way more on each individual shot, and is just super, super good. And also the camo detection is very nice. So get it to a 402 after 62. And this should just handle 63. Our Juggernaut and Deadly Spikes should kill the left. Our Embrittlement, Silas, and Overdrive should kill the middle. And our double Juggernaut should just solo the right. Dang, round 63 is actually getting owned. And people call this round hard for some reason. Next, we're going to get a tack shooter, as bottom right as possible here. And we're going to upgrade it to a 204 Overdrive. Our Deadly Spike clutching up once again. Overdrive. And now we're going to wait until, like, a bit into the future. So, we're going to go for an Embrittlement Ice Monkey here, but we're going to wait to place the Ice Monkey until we can fully afford the Embrittlement upgrade. Because what tends to happen is if you just have an Ice Shards here, and don't quite have the Embrittlement quite yet, it does like to freeze a ceramic on top of your spike pile, which just deletes the whole thing because it doesn't have frozen popping. So we're going to wait until we can fully buy the Embrittlement. Which should be on round 68. And something kind of funny is you may be saying, oh, but Dario, you should get it earlier so you can get Silas's XP buff, because he gets more XP for each tier 3 Ice Monkey. Well, it actually doesn't really work as of when I'm recording this. It's just bugged to not work. So that's fun. So currently it doesn't really matter. We're going to get primary training on our left village, and then we're going to Alk buff this Overdrive as well. We should be able to afford that on round 71. Just a quick 3-2-0 as well. You should be buffing the Overdrive here. Yep, it is. And final thing before we start saving up for both of our Super Brittles is going to be a 301 Abyss Dweller with as much coverage here as possible. You want it to see all of this loop. This guy is just to help out our Juggernauts on rounds 76, 78, and 79, where they do lose a lot without this guy. So that's very fun. This guy's just going to chunk out a bunch of ceramics. And now we can just straight up AFK until round 80, so I'll see you then. Round 76 here can look a bit scary sometimes, so that's fun, but our Abyss Dweller should just chunk out these ceramics, and then our Juggernauts should clean up. The reason we're putting this guy here as opposed to up here to pierce buff the Juggernauts as well is because we want this guy to just reduce the number of Bloons they have to deal with, not buff them. So, yeah, down here just makes him chunk out the rounds. '78 is annoyingly, like, the most terrifying round, because sometimes our Dweller's tentacles don't just chunk out the ceramics, sometimes they miss a little, which is a tad bit annoying, but it should still work every time, and if you really get scared, you can just use the right trap as well, but you most definitely should not have to. The Camo Wave is especially scary because sometimes it'll use its tentacle against the purples and not the ceramics, so it'll be delayed when hitting the ceramics and it won't chunk out nearly as many of them. This is a 2.5k tower, by the way, and it just deleted, like, a lot of 78, which is generally considered one of the hardest rounds in the game. So that's pretty cool. SILAS should now have reached his level where he discounts all of our tier 5 ice monkeys. So we're going to be going for our bottom super brittle first, because the top side can survive a lot longer, because it doesn't have to deal with the ZOMG. Also, something you may have noticed thus far is sometimes SILAS will snipe the topside MOABs and make them take 9 years longer than you wanted it to, which is quite annoying, but there's like no way to prevent it. I tried a bunch of different spots, and this is the spot where he snipes them the least. On round 80, we're actually going to move our Deadly Spike targeting back here a little bit. Don't put it so far out that when your Alch buff runs out, it resets. Just put it, like, over here. Just on the square here. That should be good. That should never reset for pretty much any placement you may have. Get your Super Brittle. And what Super Brittle does is, Super Brittle is very useful, not just because it makes this guy do a lot more damage. It's, the shards are, like, actually monsters. Like, my game kind of just froze there, but it kind of just deleted the whole thing. Like, Super Brittle's damage is, like, actually carrying. The ice shards do so much damage. Something I actually forgot to do here is, before 83, you're going to want to set your Deadly Spikes back to the original spot. I kind of forgot to do that, but you should be okay even if you do forget. Sometimes a ceramic can sneak through a little and be a little scary, but you should be fine. Your embrittlement should still catch it, even if it gets far, and you shouldn't have to rely on your Spike Factory for that, but I would recommend moving it back here for specifically 83, but move it back here for 84 as well. My bad, I just forgot. Still worked perfectly fine, though. I've tested this strategy with buying multiple wrong upgrades, and it has still worked. So, you should be good, no matter what nonsense happens in your run. On 85 here, we're going to get our second Super Brittle. And you're going to see this especially now. You're going to see the ice shards absolutely just destroy everything for cleanup. Here as well, you're going to see it. Just deletes the ZOMG and bonk, everything is gone. get stim as well here, because this is going to buff our overdrive. And the other thing it does is also buff our super brittle, and buffing our super brittle is very nice because more attack speed equals more ice shards equals more brokenness. Even with this, the top side is still going to need a good bit of support here, so we are going to give it some, after this BFB takes 9 years to go there. We're going to get a mermonkey right over here, just somewhere in this top area so that it can buff both your super brittle and your tack shooter. And this guy is going to be a 3... it doesn't matter what the crosspath is, I'll just go the middle one, just because it's cooler looking. So yeah, this guy's going to be a 3-1-0 Abyss Dweller, and then we're going to get him to a 4-1-0 Abyssal Warrior. Should be able to afford the Abyss Warrior on 89. This guy's slows are very, very nice, and the Pierce buff he gives to this Overdrive and the Super Brittle is going to be very, very useful on dense rounds like 94, 96, and 98. For round 90 and 91, we're going to move our Spike Factory back over here. We're only moving it now because there are Bloons on these rounds, like regular Bloons, and sometimes those can hit the spike pile, and you would lose if the spike pile isn't there. So yeah, spike pile being there just makes stuff a lot more consistent, you know? '91 just gets deleted by super brittle shards. We're going to move the spike pile back here for 92. And then, because we can, we're also going to get a Relentless Glue up here, down below the track here. Just a 0-2-4 set to strong, and this guy should be super, super OP. And now we're going to save up for what is actually going to be our third Tier 5 of the run, which is going to be the Tax Zone. We're going to get Tax Zone on 97, and Super Brittle Tax Zone is very, very good, but not for the reasons you might think. You might think it's good because, ooh, the Super Brittle makes the Tax Zone deal a bajillion damage, which is true, but it's also OP because the Super Brittle cleans up insanely well for the Tax Zone, because Tax Zone does really struggle with cleanup. For 95, we move our spike pile back over here. And this guy should tank any purple insides that may make it through. The purples on 95 are legitimately annoying on this map, which is, like, crazy. Most of the time they're an absolute cakewalk, but sometimes on this map they can actually be a little tricky. Move your spike pile back for 96, and after the round we should get our Tax Zone. For 97, get your Tax Zone here, and then we're also going to get a 0-2-4 MOAB press on the top side set to strong. The reason I got the press after the Tax Zone, even though I could have afforded it for the save up, as you can tell by me being able to buy them at the same time, is because I didn't really want to just have to write a pinned comment if something gets price nerfed saying, hey, skip the MOAB press until after the Tax Zone, because now you're just going to get the press after the Tax Zone anyway. Because if you don't have Tax Zone for 97, you just lose, so that's not very fun. Kind of just future-proofs the strat a little bit. But anyway, 98 is going to get absolutely destroyed with our Super Brittle Taxone on the middle. Like, nothing's going to make it to, like, past the curve that much. Oh, well, something did, but yeah, gets absolutely demolished here. And the top side will also get taken out, but a bit more slowly. The Super Brittle shards actually putting in a ton of work here. Like, they just deleted the round. That's crazy. For 99, we're going to get Stronger Stimulant on this guy, and then we're also going to get an Embrittlement in the middle, and this guy's going to be a 410. You might be asking, hey Norio, why are you getting an Embrittlement when you already have a Super Brittle? They actually stack. Their debuffs actually stack, which is very nice, and it also prevents some RNG with the DDT insides of the bad. Also, if you need it to, your Deadly Spike can tank literally all of the DDTs this round. It does have lead popping because of the acidic mixture dip it currently doesn't have. Wait, what? Oh, it had it like a minute ago. But finally, for round 100, the last thing we need to buy, just another Overdrive. These guys doing like 7 damage because of our Super Brittle Taxone and Alk buffs will absolutely melt the bad, and the insides should get destroyed as well. And if your Long Life Spikes tank something, you know why we bought it. And boom, with that, you should now have your Dark Dungeons Chimps Black Border with the most pro strategy of all time, SILAS, and 2 Super Brittles. And also a Taxone. I guess this guy helped, but it's mostly the 2 Super Brittles. Like, look at these pop counts. You don't expect a support tier 5 to get that much. Anyway, I hope this guide helped you out in some way. Have a nice rest of your day. Oh, and also, in the comments, tell me how you perceive SILAS. Like, what do you think of him? I think he's pretty cool, but I want to hear what you guys think. So yeah, goodbye.